Hello there. I have some Halloween home decor DIYs that I made and I can't wait to share them with you. I'm Whitney with Crafty Thoughts and Whatnots. Let's jump into the craft room. So, I've got Halloween on the mind, so we're going to start out with a piece of scrap wood. This came from my box of scrap wood from Amazon. It's in my Amazon store if you want to look at it. It's like $40. You get a lot of chunks of wood. So I grabbed this one. And now look at this beautiful decoupage paper. This came from miltonsdaughter.com. There's a link in my description below. Lori at Milton's Daughter gave me some awesome stuff. I get all of my DIY paints. I'm using a liquid patina here too, also DIY. And all of my IOD products and this decoupage paper from Lori at Milton's Daughter. So check it out if you want to see some of the goodies that are there. There's also a coupon code in my description for your first purchase. And then there's an incentive program for repeat business. It's just lots of good stuff there. So now I'm taking my scrap wood here and I'm using, this is actually folk art paint because I don't have any DIY paint. So I'm taking folk art paint and I'm putting black paint around 3 sides of it, or around all the sides in the bottom. Now on these sides, I'm using a baby white because I didn't want it to be 100% thick black paint, but on the back and the bottom, because it's technically not our focal point. And then on the very top, I'm gonna put a pumpkin stem, so I only lightly dusted it with a little bit of paint. And this is what we have at the end. We have some kind of distressed looking edges, and then we have a really nice back to it. And then on the front here, I'm going to use my DIY paint in the color B-board, and I'm going to put this on the front because basically anytime I use decoupage, or if I'm going to do that, I would like to put a white coat behind it. It helps the paper pop. It helps you be able to see images a lot better. You don't have to do this. It's just my preference. I didn't want the browns of this pretty paper to be lost in the wood grain behind it. So that is why you see a white coat behind it. Not necessary, just my preference. Now, I'm finding the placement. I'm going to put I want the main house on here and then the little banner down there that says the witch is in. So this is just going to be a little bit more of our, cutting things apart, making things look pretty and stuff, and trying to find exactly how I'm going to get it on here because I'm going to cover that entire piece of wood with this paper. And it is so pretty and so cute. It's kind of like a spooky, elegant feel. I don't know. I like the way it looks. So really, really pretty. And then I also noticed at the bottom of the page here, this is the brand of it. It is called Decoupage Queen. That is the paper. I'm not sure if this one is available because I got this one a while ago from Lori. I think I got it a year or two ago from Lori. I ordered that a while. But she has a lot of decoupage papers on her website, so take a look. Now, what I'm doing here is I'm doing a starter strip. Now, if anyone follows Sonnet from Sonnet's Garden Blooms, she has a lot of really good tutorials on using decoupage paper and liquid patina with DIY. But you do a starter strip at the top, and then the rest of your piece won't move. So I have also loved this format. So I'm putting the starter strip at the top. I'm going to lift it up, and then I'm going to apply the liquid patina all on the bottom and smooth the paper out. I have had no issues with wrinkles or anything since using this liquid patina. I've tested out some other things off camera, and they've all turned out great. Now look at that. That was also very quick too. Unlike Mod Podge, sometimes I have a tendency to put just way too many coats on it, so it's like really thick and squishy. It's like, why isn't this drying? Well, Whitney, because you put 75 coats on it thinking you had to, but I was trying to smooth out the wrinkles so much that it got soggy. Like when you stay in the bathtub too long and your fingers turn into prunes. Not grapes, but prunes. Yeah. Don't do that with your Mod Podge. Anyways, I've moved on from Mod Podge. I love this liquid patina. It's a little bit thinner. It's not as thick, and I have had absolutely wonderful results with it. And so after that, obviously I talked through it, my jibber jabber. I used a finger sander and I sanded off all of our edges. And now I want to add a little bit more to it. So I have my little bucket here of, I think that's folk art white chalk paint. And now I got this pack of these cute little stencils. It's a 24-piece pack I got from Amazon of fall stencils. It's in my Amazon shop, listed in my description and pinned in my comment below should you want to take a peek at it. It's under project supplies. I'm going to take these 2 stencils, but I'm only going to use parts of them. So I'm going to tape these girls up so I can only get the pretty parts that I want. I just want one little pumpkin, and I want to use 1 leaf off of this stencil. So what you're going to see is you're going to see me use some masking tape, and I am just taping off in little chunks and pieces anything I don't want to be shown should I get paint on it. Now obviously these are very close together, so if you don't tape them off, you're going to get paint in them and then you're going to see them. So I want to make sure I'm only isolating that top pumpkin just as an accent. So there's another good tip. If you see stencils you love, think of them in separations or in segments. You don't have to use the stencil, even how the stencil's intended. You can tape things off, move things over, you can piece them together, use 3 or 4 stencils to make a whole new design. I've never, same thing with like rub-on transfers. I've never left them the same or left them whole because I kind of just make them what I want. And it's also very easy. Just clean it off real quick after you use it and then throw that back in your stash and you're ready to go for the next one and there's no paint on it. And sometimes when those paints dry, it causes a lot of problems for your stencils to be usable the next time around. They're too thick or you got chunks of paint coming off or that paint re-wets itself and then you see the wrong color. So it's just, in my personal opinion and preference, is I clean my stencils off as soon as I use them. And then I just wanted to put some fall leaves like they were kind of falling, you know, like you're looking at a scenery through some glass or something, like a little kaleidoscope. I just put one of these leaves like falling all over our little project here, so that she looks like she's so cute. She got some leaves on her. Look how pretty. And I got bright, crisp white lines. I wanted these to pop, so that is why you're seeing a white paint with those stencils. Now I'm going to distress this girl with our mineral chalk paint, which is kind of a cross between gray and like a little bit of brown, like a stucco color almost. So I'm just taking my chip brush and I'm getting a good amount on there, tap it off a little bit, and then just brushing the edges. And then I'm going to go in the middle. I'm just going to kind of get a little bit wild once I think the brush is kind of dry. And then you'll see me apply more pressure. And then once you see paint show up, that's when you kind of just try to calm down. Sometimes I'm not successful with that, but I do try to calm down. So here's the rest of the dry brush. Get the brush a little bit more wet, and then I'm just going to put like maybe a crisscross, but not crisscross, but an up and down pattern, almost like a basket weave pattern on the back, just to give it something to look at, because I like the pieces to look like they're finished, like they're, you know, retail shelf quality goodness. Now, look at this. This stem came from those cute little gourds you get at the grocery store or wherever, if you have, you know, the ability to live next to a real farm. I buy them from the grocery store every year. And so when they finally go bad and it's time to throw them out, I save the stems. So this is an actual stem from a pumpkin, and I'm sanding it down so that it will lay at a decent angle on my new pumpkin here. And I'll show you in a second. I mean, I filed a decent amount off of it to get it to go. There's dust everywhere, so vacuum it, clean it, keep your piece clean because we're going to be using glue. We don't want that dust to get in the way. But see, look how flat I got that. That's pretty nice, because before that, had I known to show you how bumpy it was, it had a nice little curve to it, so it wasn't going to be usable too well. So I sanded it, so we're going to fill it full of some Tight Bond Quick and Thick, which is a multi-purpose glue, but it also lends for wood as well, and just a dollop of hot glue just to hold it there. Now I let that dry for a while, just because I wanted to make sure that it wasn't going to come off. And this is what we're working with. So we're going to start decorating her. We're going to add all these kinds of Halloween, fall, spooky accoutrements to our little punky here. Now, if you see here, I'm having problems. I mean, it stood up okay for me right there, but anyways. Now, moving on. This kind of didn't work out, but it worked out to my benefit because I had to change up what I was doing. This is a pack of skull beads. I got 120 of them. I had to look to find so I could point at 120 piece Halloween party accessory, blah, blah, blah. That's the Amazon number should you want to see. There's a link in my description, also under project supplies. You can see these little beads here. I was going to make a garland, like a beaded garland out of these. And so you'll see me here, I'm getting it all ready. I'm going to cut it apart. And I wanted to put like 4 of these skull beads hanging down with some of my larger wood beads from Amazon too. And I just kind of wanted to have a nice little longer kind of garland type piece hanging down off of the top of the pumpkin. Well, I got them off and put them, I cut the cord. I did it, guys. I cut the cord. And I took off my 4 beads, and then I'm just going about my business. I'm going to grab these black beads. These I got at Dollar Tree. I'll show you a package in a minute. I'm going to show you, and then they're going to fall out of my hand and on the floor. This is the pack is what it looks like. I got them at I got them at Dollar Tree in the Crafter Square section, I think probably last year. I've seen them off and on with some other wooden and natural color beads now. But we're going to use the black, and then some orange beads in there are plain natural Amazon beads, but I painted them orange last year for another DIY, and these are all my extras. So here's me discovering that this hole is super tiny, Whitney. Should have seen that, but sometimes when you're buying stuff off Amazon, you just kind of get caught up on how pretty it is and how nice the picture looks. And I try to go to all the reviews on things and look for reviews that have pictures. A lot of times when you submit a picture to a review, that's what I look for because it helps me see what a real person is doing with a real item. It's not the picture that they're putting on their listing. That can sometimes be misleading. Now, don't get me wrong. Nothing's misleading about these beads. They're super cute. I tried to get my jute cord through them. I used tape, and then here I'm grabbing some, it's like 5-second glue or nail glue, you could say, and I'm just kind of trying to get it, just to get a hard end on it. So it's like maybe I need it to be harder because I didn't have a needle that I could thread with the jute, because I knew even after that, when you fold the thread through, I mean, when you the needle, the jute goes through the needle, it's going to be folded in half, so it'll be double thickness. No way that's going to fit through that hole in those beads. So I'm just trying to feed it through there, and then it's like, okay, look, this isn't going to work. It's just not going through. I can get it to a certain degree, but there's no way I'm going to be able to thread this through 4 beads. I was going to try more, just like a longer piece, make it harder, but you know, the hole inside the bead itself is not smooth either. So it's one of those things where, okay, I'm going to have to reassess. I'm going to have to figure something else out. I'm not sure when I'm going to cut to when I change my mind. I guess I'm going to try again here. Getting nail glue all over my finger, by the way. Push, 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 push. And nope, doesn't work. So plan B, got some toothpicks. Because regular sticks and anything I had in my stash from like stems and picks and all stuff, some of them are green and I didn't want to paint it. So I just went and got toothpicks and I glued them to them in the toothpicks. I glued the toothpicks into the end, I'm sorry. So I'm making them into their own little picks here. And look how cute that is. So yeah, you can see the top of it there. It's not bad. I'm sorry, I lost my lost my train of thought, because look how cute they are. I use a little bit of hot glue. I put the toothpick in the end, and I'm going to use them as cute little accessories. So I'm still going to do my little garland that I thought I was going to do. And I just added 2 black, 2 orange, and 1 natural bead. And then here I'm going to show you. I'm going to cut the jute off and just tie in knots so there's like a little tassel almost. This is like a beaded tassel, you could say. So it just hangs there, and we're going to put that to the side. So I've got most of my little supplies here on the side. I'm going to take this pipberry garland I got on, I believe I got a load of them. I think 5 or 6 of them from craftoutlet.com. But you can find this at many stores. And I wrapped that around a piece of hot glue to get the good coily, you know, tendril look to it. And tied that around the top of the stem, a little bit of glue. Now I'm tying my little beaded dealy-do here to the middle, not realizing until after I'd already tied a square knot twice that it hangs right in the middle. So of course it's like right in the middle of your project, Whitney. You can't see, it's like hanging right in the middle. So instead I had to cut it off, and I opted to just glue it off to the left side, and it is on by hot glue. It hasn't come off. It's pretty good. So, I mean, if you're not a hot glue fan, use a different type of glue. But it's still on there. She's solid. Now I'm grabbing some Spanish moss, and the Spanish moss here is just to cover up our little behind the scenes and anything else we're going to jam in there. But also I'm going to put our cute little skulls in there. And I love how this turned out. So I'm also happy that I couldn't string them on. I cut them at 2 different lengths, and I put hot glue into them, and I'm using obviously the Spanish moss, and it's stuck down in there, and it's connecting with the wood underneath. So I've got it connected to a few things, and they're solid. They're not coming out. Again, you're not playing football with it. You're not picking it up. It's a shelf sitter. You're just supposed to look at it. So as long as you're just looking at it, it's fine. Otherwise, maybe you might need another type of glue. But everything here for me is good. Now, I noticed when I was trying to set it up, when I thought I was done with this pretty girl, she doesn't sit up straight. So I started sanding it, and it's still not standing up. So I have this wood palette here. I had an extra piece in my stash. So in order to show you guys what they look like, everybody, if you're familiar with Dollar Tree, these Dollar Tree wood palettes are very popular, very common. I had a few of them. And in a previous project for something, I had cut them apart about, you know, I used my miter shears in these 2 spots here. And so this is an extra piece I have left over. I'm going to use this as the stand. It's actually the perfect width for this pumpkin, for this piece of wood. It just worked out right. I'm going to stain it with some antique wax, Waverly antique wax. It looks like it's a great color. And I'm not distressing it. I'm just putting this color on there. And I'm using a baby wipe. I got a little bit dark on one end, but I use a baby wipe to lighten it up. It's like a kind of a good little hack. If it's a little dark, take a fresh baby wipe and watch. I'm not sure if it's going to show up for you that well on camera here, but a fresh baby wipe will actually, you just apply more pressure, will lighten the wax color up for you, because it does take off a little bit more instead of having the saturated one you've already used. So after it's dry, it's the perfect color. Makes me happy. So now I'm going to take the Dollar Tree wood glue super glue. Now, of course, none of this is raw wood. It's all painted and has wax on it. But this wood glue super glue from Dollar Tree is good on so many surfaces. And I just used a couple little squirts there of hot glue to keep it down in the temporary. That's like an immediate hold and then the long-term hold. You know, the words you guys, if you had a nickel every time you heard a DIYer say it. Now, we're going to add a bow. I hadn't planned on it, but I saw my junk bucket off to the right, and I said, that's a really pretty mustard ribbon. This is actually another remnant from a 2.5-inch wide ribbon I got on craftoutlet.com many years ago, probably 2-3 years ago. And I love this mustard color. Now, this ribbon frays desperately. So what I did was I cut it thinner because I wanted it to be maybe like if I had like a 1/4 inch or 1/8 and 1/4 inch wide ribbon. So I'm using some, my candle lighter here to melt the edges so it stops fraying, because that's frustrating to me. When you don't want something to fray, it will literally fall apart on you. So I just melted all the edges, and I'm doing a finger bow here. Now I slowed it down so you can watch me do it. It's only a 1-loop finger bow. It's very simple, but in order to get better description of it, I have a link to a separate finger bow tutorial in my description. Slows it down from start to finish, shows you how to do a single, double, and multiple loop finger bow. It gets easier, but I love making these because they're super impactful. Is it time to use large words Tuesday? No, it's not Tuesday actually. Today's Thursday. Or is it Friday? It's Friday. I hope I get this video out for Saturday. We'll see. But I made a little finger bow, and it's just so cute. Now, again, this is single-sided ribbon, so it's not that the finger bow technique is not good for that. So you don't have to use the whole, pinch it in the middle and then bind it with twine or anything like that. But I cut my ends at a diagonal, and I like to leave the longer points on the inside. I don't know why, but for me, when I'm cutting them at a diagonal, I'm not doing a dovetail. I like it when the longer point is together on the inside of where the tails are. If that makes sense, I hope it does. I don't know why I like it. I just do. So this is how you'll see most of my smaller bows. If I'm cutting them at a diagonal, I try to cut those ribbons that way. Unless for some reason the project's like, no, you can't do that. Sorry, it's just not allowed. So just add a little bit of glue here and pop that down in there. Now they need a little bit of help, and I had to nestle it in, get it around the Spanish moss and the tendrils we put in, the garland, make sure it didn't cover up our cute little skulls. But other than that, that was the last bit. I wasn't going to put any ribbon in, and I just couldn't help it. When I saw my ribbon bucket, it was like calling my name. So make my little adjustments, but look at that bow. Look how cute it is. And it's that mustard yellow is like a perfect color for fall. Just kind of dreary. Things are nearing the ends, and they're gonna, fall off trees. The leaves are falling. I love, this is great colors. The decoupage paper is gorgeous. I like that the white pops on the front, makes them look like they're kind of focusing. Like it's floating in front of you. So again, we've got browns, and then the mineral color, it lends more towards the gray. The Spanish moss ties into that. The little skull beads are just so cute to me. I love them. They're almost just, they lend a little bit of like classical or shabby spooky. Is that a thing? If it's not, we can make up our own. It's just shabby spooky pretty. Tell me what you think. Would you do something like this? Scrap piece of wood, and please let me know. It looks like a pumpkin, right? It has a stem on it, so it should scream, hey, look, I'm a pumpkin, even though it's a piece of wood with feet. All right, moving on. So our second DIY here. Now look at this door hanger. She is so pretty and so cute. I got it on Amazon. It was like $6, guys. Go to my Amazon shop. Take a peek at it. It was not expensive, and it is so cute. I like the muted tones. I like the grays. It's a very grayscale kind of dreary color palette, and I loved every second of it. The ghost, the jack-o'-lantern, the mason jars, the flowers, screams, spooky farmhouse made me so happy. So I bought it, and now we're gonna put it here on this clearance picture that I got at Hobby Lobby last year. If you've been with me for a while, you have seen these hauls. I had this in my cart at Hobby Lobby last year, or maybe even the year before that. Now, I didn't get it for even $6.99. I got it even cheaper than that because they were doing a bigger sale off of the red tags, I think. I can't remember, but I got 2 of them. So I have another one in my stash, but I got it for a screaming good deal. Made me so happy. So What I'm doing here is I'm going to paint the back of it. So I want to make sure the chandelier doesn't show through. So first I'm going to paint it with my Folk Art Home Decor chalk paint in white. I'm just going to tape off the edges because I'm not going to want to get any paint on the frame. The frame is pretty as it is, and I'm going to just add an accent to the frame. I'm not going to actually paint it. So this took a little bit of time. I'm not good at painter's tape, guys, and I cut a lot out. I'm not going to make you sit there and watch me put paint down or put tape down because it was not fun for me either. But here's the first coat. This is just me making sure I get only the chandelier covered. So this is not by any means neat, tidy, proper, or any of that. This was get it down, get it a little bit dry, and then put a second coat over it just to make sure that when we put that mineral color down that I showed you the first one, I want to paint the back of this that mineral color. I don't want the chandelier to pop through. So now I have the chandelier you can still see there, but I had enough coats over it that I was comfortable it won't pop through. Now my paint's been sitting there for a minute, even with the surgery that I had in July. Even before that, the mineral wasn't something I bought a lot. Why I bought a big jar of it, I don't know. But it was a little thick, so it kind of lent to my, my project there. It's like, hey, it's a thicker paint, so this will help you out. I like taking paint off or the tape off. So if you like watching tape getting peeled, there you go. You're welcome. I like it too. I like the crisp lines. I'm like, look, nothing got on the sides. I did a good job. I used way more tape than I should have, but that's okay. So now I want to make it shiplap. I don't know why I love to put shiplap lines behind pictures. I think it's just a good accent, and it's also very easy. This is just a piece of scrap wood from Dollar Tree. Just find something that's easy. Obviously, a ruler would work too. And I'm just making them even lines across, and then I'm taking my finger that's just a regular pencil, and I'm taking my finger and I'm using it to smudge the lines. That's all I do for shiplap, and it is very, very effective. Now, I'm going to treat our frame to Debbie's DIY wax. It's a white wax. Look how white that is. And let me tell you, this DIY wax is like butter. It's so creamy and so easy to apply. You need very little. And it's just, again, impactful. Makes me so happy. So I was using a paper towel at first, or a rag, and it wasn't taking enough off on the edge. So I ended up getting a baby wipe, and I got a little bit of the wax on the painting. Doesn't matter. I'm going to slow it down. Look at how perfect it got those little crevices and creases in between all that little beaded detail. Love it. Makes my farmhouse heart so happy. You guys tell me what you think. The DIY white wax is a game. That's my first time using the white wax. I've used the clear wax before, but that white wax, is it my first time? I'm not sure. I may have used it in the last video. I love it. I love it. I am looking for more stuff to use on purpose. So here is some scrap styrofoam that I had in my stash. I used to use this to, stab things into while I had painted and then let them dry. So it is time to move on and use it for a permanent purpose. I want to make sure I have it centered. So you saw me using my ruler, making sure I have it in the middle. And I pre-cut that, and it was messy as all get out. I'm telling you, that styrofoam is so messy. Man, it was all over the place. It was all over my wiener dog. Zoe's running down the hall. I'm trying to chase her with a vacuum because she's got little white styrofoam balls all over her butt. It was so cute. But anyways, moving on. I digress. I'm putting some Spanish moss I got from Hobby Lobby around the edges so that you can't see the styrofoam, and it's having a little bit of difficulty. So these right here are floral pins. If you're not familiar with it, it's literally just a little U-shaped piece of pretty thick wire that normally florists will use in mostly live floral arrangements for different purposes. I use them a lot in my floral arrangements, artificial arrangements too. They're just floral pins. You can get them in any floral department at any craft store. Now I'm going to start poking in all these pretty girls. So I've got some eucalyptus and I've got some berries from Dollar Tree that I got last year. I haven't seen much yet. I've only been to Dollar Tree once since I've been back at this. And I don't know if they have them yet this year. Now, I know usually I see these berries every year for Christmas too. Now, these are a cream color, and they usually have all kinds of different colors. But the Dollar Trees around here, I have seen some greenery, but I don't know about the eucalyptus just yet. But again, comparable. Find things that match your color palette, or if you should find a different theme for the middle, find things that complement those colors. So I'm just taking them, and I only did one bundle each. One bundle of eucalyptus, one bundle of the berries, and I'm just evenly no pattern or anything, just spreading them out and poking them around the sides. Now this right here is a little hydrangea bush that I got at Michael's a long time ago. So just find a little a bright color flower, and I could cut them because they were small enough that I knew that they wouldn't be too bulky or anything. So I just kind of tucked them all around the outside too. And on one corner I decided, I was like, I had a problem right here with this one. It's like, no, I don't want to go here. This is not my new home. So it's like, no, you will go into your home. Why don't you want to go to your home? Okay, fine, I'll put you down here. So I gave in and I gave it a different home. That's the movie reference, by the way, if anybody knows about it. Why don't you want to go to your home? Anyways, ignore me. It's almost dinner time. I'm hangry. And I'm also not making much sense. Skip 2 thought I was done. I actually recorded an entire thing of me showing you the project finished, and then I forgot I had ordered these off of Amazon, and they were sitting on my doorstep. So I came right back in here into my craft room, and I turned my camera back on and said, look, check it out, guys. They are like a brightly colored berry stem. And I got a bunch of them. I want to say there's like 40 in there. Again, that I just bought these and they are available. They're in my Amazon store. Take a peek at them. I don't remember the price off the top of my head while I'm recording this, but they were very inexpensive. For 40 of them, it was a crazy good deal. So I'm leaving them the length they are. I'm just cutting off the wire and I am feeding them in. And one side is a darker, almost red. And then the other side goes from that darker red, but it's still a bright, crisp color from that to orange and then almost a yellow. It's going to be perfect for fall too. You guys are going to see me use those in my upcoming fall videos. So I have this Halloween. I got another Halloween already done. I'll be making that one as this one's premiering. And then I'm going to be jumping into the pumpkins. You guys are going to be just drowning in pumpkins. I'm going to be so tired of it. And I'm going to be pumpkin drunk. I'm going to be pumpkin drunk. I'm drunk with pumpkin power. Look at that frame. I love it. I love that DIY wax, guys. You got to jump to miltonsdaughter.com and get yourself some DIY white wax. It is amazing how wonderful it looks on pretty much any project. It changed the whole color of that frame and made it look perfect for the color palette. Absolute color palette. I mean, I didn't plan it. It just worked out that way, right? Tell me what you think. This is it for today's DIYs. I only did 2, but I got my next video's got 2 in it too, but you're going to love those 2. It's kind of like a muted palette. Such pretty things. Nothing too spooky, but also nothing too cutesy. I just, I don't decorate for Halloween. I decorate for fall starting in September. Actually, even now, again, my house has pumpkins year round. But anyways, I have a coffee page. So should you feel you would like to donate and help me out with my channel, every little bit is appreciated, never required. And that's it, guys. I love y'all more than I can possibly say in words. Many hugs, happy crafting, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks so much. Bye-bye for now.